Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, it looks like we are live in all the places we need to be live for another edition of Whisky Roundtable. Tonight, it is Would You Rather? All the big questions once again, all the questions you didn't know you wanted to ask and all the questions you didn't think you needed to ask and probably shouldn't have asked anyway. My name is FItzsimons, live here in the Oak Barrel tasting room, the very quiet warehouse at the moment, joined by Alex Dahlenburg from Whisky Culture Speakeasy, Andy Milne from Bondi's Internet and Southtrade, and Matt Bailey from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. What has been catching our eye and tantalising our taste buds this week, team?
Oh,
don't all go at once.
Lots of space.
I haven't had any drinks this week. Unfortunately, I had my first margarita last night, but that's the first drink I've had since I think Monday when I was with you guys last for Sydney Whisky Forum.
Yeah, impressive. That feels like a long time ago. Whisky Forum.
Yeah, it
does. Matt, you have been busy. We were just talking before. Done some really interesting live streams on the Society page this week.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been fun. As well as I've been dissecting oak. I've been talking a bit about hemicellulose and cellulose and lignins and flavors and things like that, and breaking down some of the nerdy stuff to do with oak and
getting the girl all hot under the collar, man.
Yes, hemicellulose does that.
There's a first time for everything, Matt.
Yeah, it's been great, and then obviously we had our first proper big in-person whiskey tasting back last Friday night back at the RSC, and reduced numbers to maintain social distancing and all that, but still 58 something guests in the Macquarie room was good fun. It's good fun.
How good is it to do that again? Just have it in person.
The response and the vibe was overwhelming. The response on the night was just fantastic. Just like everyone being like, "Man, you don't know how much you've missed it until you go back to it and you go, oh, like that was so good." And that was so exciting to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had our first one back at Wester's a couple of weeks ago, and doing Pappy. It was great just to have people in a room again and be able to chat, and all these conversations that you end up with at the end of the night just makes a big difference.
We had to maintain that whole sort of. When we did the supper break, normally people walk around and chat with people on other tables, and people say, you have to stay where you are this time, sorry. And But other than that, I mean, really, everyone actually really liked it because everyone actually had all this more space on the table to each place setting. So they had their supper and their cheese here and their whiskeys in here, and it's like, oh, look at all this space I've got, rather than trying to squeeze everything into little tables. And
it's good.
Good.
You've got to understand it, but as I said, I felt really sorry. There was one guy who had bought a ticket for himself, and that was it. And everyone, is spaced out in their relevant groups because that's a safe group booking. And this one guy was just sat at a table on his own. It's like in any other environment, we'd just welcome him into a table, and he'd suddenly make 6 new friends because of that night. Yeah. It's just like, it's such a shame that I completely understand why, and I'm not going to suddenly say, no, get the masks off and let's do this. But, at the same time, it's a shame that you lose out on that kind of connection that you get from this.
It was funny. We obviously did 2 nights at Archie Rose, so not on site here, but in Archie Rose, where they got a capacity in the slightly empty-looking distillery side at the moment of about 75, so we got 30 in. It was the first tasting I've ever run that had a seating chart. So you'd come in and DHR from Archie Rose would sign you off and dump you into a washback full of sanitizer, then pick you out and put you there and they'd tell you where to sit, and you'd fall off your chair because you're lubricated with sanitizer. But it was interesting.
I saw him well lubricated last night.
There's an element, and obviously I don't know this, but I've heard it from maybe third, fourth hand accounts, because obviously this is not something that I or DHR from Archie Rose would do. But it's a very, very different experience, so I hear, being at Frankie's at 4 a.m. in the main room, sitting down by yourself. That is a completely new experience.
Yeah, that would be.
I wasn't by myself, but the hardest thing I've ever had was sitting down at Frankie's at 3 a.m. in the morning, pizza in one hand, beer in the other hand, and Pour Some Sugar on Me comes on. and I can't get up and dance. It was like we were back in Footloose.
Yeah,
but you can be footloose from the chair. You just got to kick your legs around and dance in the legs.
Don't get me wrong. There was some chair dancing happening, but it was borderline security telling me to sit the fuck down. So
yeah, they have to. There is actually like music venues that had to clamp down on the concept of people going to the toilet quite often when their favourite song is on, so they can dance to the toilet and then dance on the way back. That's quite a hard thing to ask of people, like, because some people have issues there. They need to go to the toilet more often than others. But like just during David Bowie's Just Dance, that's an obscure medical problem, I think.
Yeah.
I heard Queensland have sort of noticed a bit of an anomaly with their COVID rules in that you can't dance at a wedding. Maximum 20 people or whatever it is now for weddings. You can't get up off your seat and you can't dance. But you can go to swingers clubs and have mass orgies, and that's apparently completely acceptable.
Wait a second, folks. It's 10 minutes past 7. There you go.
It's on ABC. Just
that must be why people don't invite me to weddings anymore, because I've been getting that model all wrong the whole time. And on that note, it's probably time that we jumped into what we're here to do tonight, and that is to, again, discuss the big questions of Would You Rather. And g'day to everyone jumping in and watching with us on the Oak Barrel Facebook and on Society Facebook, to Ali, to Craig, to Nick, to Georgia, to Dave Zander over in WA, who I haven't seen for way too long.
Yeah.
Now we're taking to Darren Howie. Rob Akers is shaking it loose in his chair at home, which is always good to see. So we're going to go through a bunch. We've all had a few ideas about what we want to pose to the other panelists, but we're intrigued to hear from you guys in the crowd as well. But which one do we want to kick off with? I've got one that I really like, and it might be not a bad one. I think it's one that Alex, you submitted. It was about the first time. Should we kick off with that one?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So, Alex, this is yours, I believe. So do you want to read it out to the audience and to the other panelists?
All right. What whiskey would you go back and try for the first time again?
Easy. The first one that converted me. So it's not when I first tried the whiskey, but it would be a 90s black bottle. So probably like late 90s, early 2000s black bottle, but it still had peated whiskey in it, but it was not like heavy peat. So it was kind of the first approach for me to taste peated whiskey. And it's like a nice little welcome in. And it was that first moment, it's just like, oh, that's a different flavor. I've never had this. That's awesome. And kind of was the little shimmy that made me go, yep, let's start trying all these other stuff. And that experience, it's that moment when you go, shit, this is a lot more than what I thought it was as a category. It was kind of the light bulb moment, as it were.
That's maybe not the one for me, but I want to echo those sentiments, because that was a whiskey. And again, going back, it would have been 10 years ago on my first trip to Islay, and that's what everyone was drinking, because it was Peter Bunnahabhain in the mix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was the makeup. And I remember by the time I got back to Australia and we brought some in, and it wasn't quite the same, but I remember just like young Scotty and Isla trying to go through all the expensive whiskies and all the bars, and then someone just tapped me on the shoulder and be like, mate, this is like 2 quick drop. So like 50 mils, and it tastes as good, if not better, than anything else. I'm just like, just drink this. And it probably wouldn't be my one. I reckon it's a really wanky thing to say, but it's something very old. Like I remember the first time I tried, and I was a gradual sort of thing. Like I got into Jameson and I thought that was cool. Then I got into other whiskeys and I got into, maybe Ardbeg 10, but I actually didn't like Ardbeg 10 the first time I tried it. So for me, the honest one, the first time that I tried something and it just blew me away, it was I'm pretty sure it was the first Brora I had. And it was just so old and so different. And people have been going on about this expensive old stuff. And I was like, okay, how good can old stuff really be? Like, I don't really get it. And then I tried, and I'm pretty sure it was a Brora. And I was just like, oh, okay, hold on. There is another world to this. Like, there is something different that I have just not experienced yet. And it's just
do you think it was less good because of the hype? Like, by comparison, so I remember first trying Port Evans Broras, But at this point, it was someone coming and be like, here's something special, here's something treasured, try it, enjoy it. And I remember, like, compare that to when I first tried. I had this incredible wine tasting when I was really young in wine. And next to me, I had a master of wine, and the other side, I had the owner of the distribution company. And, didn't know me from Jack. And this guy, what did he say? The guy said, try these wines. And the first two wines were Penfolds Grange and Hill of Grace from Henschke. I had no idea that they were so revered and so special. Tried them, was like, this is awesome. And it was kind of that moment of like trying without realizing what you're trying.
Yeah, that is often the case. You're trying something without realizing what it is, and you're appreciating it on the quality rather than the hype, I guess.
Bailey, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm going to quickly name two. One of the click moment whiskies for me was Clynelish 14. If I can go back and try Clynelish 14 again for the first time, I'd be like, I really, just to appreciate what it was when I first tried it. And the other one was my first ever, actually, it was the second time I'd ever been to Tasmania in my life, but it was my first proper whiskey trip to Tasmania, if you like. And I met this mad guy called Tim, and I ended up buying this bottle called Mount Wellington, and it was his first release, and we talked about it, and then I bought a bottle, and it was a lot of money back then even. And I remember thinking, this is cool, and I took it back home, and I cracked it open and shared it with some friends, and it was gone within a few days, but it was just like, and I remember thinking, this is a fantastic whiskey. I remember thinking, really enjoying it. It was a Mount Wellington Heartwood, and I'd go back and try that one again.
Few comments through, because I can see Alex is ready to blast us all the way with her one. But Dan Howie says Black Arts 4.1. G'day to David and/or Caroline Taylor down in Tassie watching in as well, and Matt Wooler, Optimal 1.1. And I think, like the way you said, exciting memories. Don't ever get that style experience again. Yeah, that must be. I like the way that everyone sort of answered that differently. There's sort of whiskies I went back to that I would like to try again, but I remember on pure taste, it was that old style. Interesting. Alex.
Mine was probably Octomore 7.4. It was one of my favorite Octomore releases, and that was just a light bulb moment. And one that I climbed the table, which I will probably never get to even taste again, let alone have my first experience again with, was Tank Strength Winter Storm, actually at the Glenfiddich Distillery. It was just amazing. So I don't think I'll ever get to have that again.
Well, you have to get to Scotland again, first of all.
I'm working on it.
We all are.
You and the rest of the world.
It's like that's an interesting point. I mean, like Glenmorangie, Quinta Rubin for Rob Akers. Yeah, 100% on that one as well. But it's like, I would love to go back, and it was a wine tasting. It wasn't a whiskey tasting, but I would like to go back to the first oak barrel tasting I ever went to. Not just to sort of relive that experience. I remember it was myself and my business partner at the time in Dram Club of Mile, and we went to a Brown Brothers tasting with one of the kids from Brown Brothers here at the Oak Barrel, and I had no idea how much that tasting would have an impact on my life, let alone being, Brown Brothers, a brand that, we don't work with too much. But, like, I love to go back and just be a fly on the wall and be like, little boy, 18-year-old, pay attention to your surroundings. This is going to have an impact on you. All right, I have just, as you guys know, but people at home may not, I've been doing a few nights of tastings for private events this week, and I did a gin one last night. I'm coming into this quickly off a rum high that I had tonight with drinking some excellent, like, old school 14-year-old Four Squares and some really good stuff. And a concept that we were discussing in that group, our favourite spirits and that sort of thing. So I want to throw a would you rather that's very much in my time and place at the moment. Would you rather give up whiskey or all other spirits? So you have to drink whiskey exclusively forever, or you drink rum, gin, Armagnac, mezcal, tequila.
I'm giving up the rest of them.
You're sticking to whiskey? No more margaritas.
I know. That's why I was like, tequila's the only other one that I'd leave home for. But I'm probably going to have to give the rest of them up. Just because you have so much variety within the whiskey world.
You do. But
the only exception I would have is because I know Anthony Wills, his wife, uses their new make instead of gin. And so if you can get really estery, fruity new make, and that's allowed, then that can replace tequila, mezcal, gin requirements.
Oh,
but if I couldn't have new make, then sorry, whiskey.
So yeah, okay, it would be no, it's not whiskey new make, so it would be whiskey. It was whiskey and all other spirits, just whiskey. So you're giving up whiskey. A few people coming in. Martin Eber from timeforwhiskey.com. Keep drinking a Mari and sherry. Hadn't actually thought about that, but yes, no, because that would be other spirits. Because you don't fortify a Mari, you don't fortify sherry with whiskey. You fortify it with neutral spirits. So that would count as neutral spirits. That would count out there. Colby Whale, no brainer here. That's easy. Happily only drink whiskey for the rest of my days. Matt Bailey.
Yeah, whiskey. Sorry.
I really feel we're in the wrong forum. Any of us say everything else.
I'm going with everything else.
Are you? Oh, get the fuck out.
Yeah. No, and to time for whiskey, so you can't drink sherry because it's fortified with another spirit. You're giving up sherry as well if you don't drink anything that uses another spirit.
Just convince distilleries to bottle it at 39.8%, and then it's not whiskey.
How did I know you'd find some?
Holy shit!
Loophole.
Swift.
Remember the Highland Malts that used to appear at auction that were at old whiskies that had fallen below 40% that people would sort of private casks that used to appear on the auction sites. Heaps of them. I hadn't thought about that. I would have to
fucking Milne. 10 points from last
10
week.
Points from Milne.
But it doesn't count this week.
Still Drew. I have a mum giving me points, so even more so.
I am very, very torn here, but I think I'm leaning with Milne. I would be a very, very depressed, angry man for the rest of my life, but I would have a lot of mezcal and rum and gin to drown those sorrows in.
And cognac and armagnac.
Matt, how do we feel about this?
Am I about to be kicked off the round table? Is that what's going to happen here?
You know what? It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
These guys have just experienced that, and it's okay. I mean, you're wrong. Your answer is incorrect, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what, Andy? Actually, what you said before reminded me of that story real quickly. Just that story from Andrew Durbidge, who was talking about those two casks of Glenfarclas. That one was 52 and one was 51 years of age, and they were both tipped down the drain because they'd both fallen below 40%, and they're very protective of their spirit and their output. So they didn't want to sell it to brokers or anything, and they didn't want to turn it into a liqueur or anything like that. So it was like, well, we've got to get rid of it. And so they tipped them out, and it was like. And one was 38.9%, one was 39.1% or something like that. And it's like, oh, well.
It's weird because I had the same problem. We had a 45-year-old, and it was 5 casks. 3 of them were just over about 41, 42%, and 2 of them were down about 38, 39. And it's bottled, it's Port Escape, their 45-year-old, and it's bottled at 40.8%.
Yeah.
And so by vatting all 5 casks, we just managed to tip it over to make it work. But it was the same thing. We had 2 casks that had leaked and just completely lost.
And that was Port Kalila, did you say? I mean, Skag. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Port Skag. Oh, sorry. Oh, good.
Trust me. It's the 45-year-old is not Kalila. For sure. We use distilleries from all across, or they use distilleries from all across Isla. Sometimes it's Kalila, sometimes it's not. But I know I can pretty much, I don't work for them anymore, so I can say what I like. They've almost definitely bottled Kalila, Lagavulin, Gunnahaven. It's a 45-year-old unpeated Isla whiskey.
Yeah, well, that pretty much answers it.
So,
yeah.
G'day to Vicky Dahlenburg, friend of the stream, who was a point scorer in Fight Night last week. In fact, got
an unfair point scorer.
You made it. No, she. I went back. She voted for you a few times, Andy.
I never saw the comments.
She's the mum for everyone, really. I have not heard.
Sorry, actual mum.
She has not shut up about it. She thought that was so much fun. She's like, I've been trying to listen to Alex for so many years, and I learned so much. And I'm like, the fuck am I? Like, she had such a wonderful time.
Rob Akers,
that's a good question.
Just send all the Armagnac to Japan and bottle it as Japanese whiskey. That's a good point.
Spicy, very spicy.
Time for whiskey. The liquid's good. Chili could have better with some younger, stronger casks. Yeah, maybe that was an element of the whiskey not being that good. But we have a log of would you rathers, but I'm going to take one from the crowd right now from Luke Cripps. Would you rather 2 $100 bottles or 1 $200 bottles? And what would you be purchasing? And I'm going to go straight off the bat and knock that one into the covers for 4 and say 2 $100 bottles of Kilkerran 12-year-old. Done, sorted. And if anyone else is differently, again, to quote Matt Bailey, you're wrong.
Kilkerran is an exceptional choice. What's that selling for now?
99. Yeah.
$99.
Yeah.
99.
All right. You know what? I'm going to go with 1 $200. There you go.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to choose quality over quantity. Sorry, Scotty. And I'm going to go for a nice bottle that's around 200, and I'll savor it over a month or two.
Oh, actually, I'm going to change my mind.
You didn't have a bottle that's got better quality than Kilkerran 12 then?
Yeah, for sure.
Is one bottle of not as good quality as Kilkerran 12, by the way. I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
I'm just, with a $200 budget, I can buy 2 bottles. Does that count? Even though one might be over 100?
Nah, 100 cap.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got some pretty good whiskey here in my life, so.
But this is how we're going to go with it.
Okay, I've got some pretty good whiskey here in my life, like in my little collection. So I'm going to go 2 $100 bottles and buy 2 bottles of Jack and just have some fun, get lit.
Yeah, can I change my answer to 4 bottles of Jack? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Milne?
Yeah.
I'm now craving Portuguese and elements of Isla now that we've talked about it, and I haven't tried it in so long. So I was with you on the 2 for 100, but I would probably push up and go, actually, what do I know? I think I get a chance to drink that stuff fairly regularly of sort of that price point. So I'm less likely to sort of go out and go, oh yeah, I'll go and buy that, I'll go and drink that. So I think because it would force me to try something different or try something new, I would go 1 bottle for 200.
Okay. Some very good answers. 3 wrong answers and 1 correct answer, but nonetheless, participation pods for everyone else involved. Colby Whale has just posted a would you rather as well, which is actually quite similar to one of the ones that came through, but to save me having to write out the one that someone posted in the group, I'm just going to pick Colby's there. Would you rather Scotch so you're only drinking Scotch whiskey or drinking every other type of whiskey? So Japanese, Irish, I'm going to put American whiskey in there as well, Aussie whiskey. This is a tough one. This is a real tough one, I think.
I think this was on our list as well, wasn't it, for Would You Rathers?
Yeah.
Mine was worded differently.
Okay.
How did you word it?
So mine was, would you rather only drink Scotch or only drink whiskey from emerging countries? So not Japan, America, and Ireland, which I'd say are established countries.
You did emerging versus established.
So basically the sort of mindset behind it is, would you rather try something that's traditional and probably isn't going to innovate that much in the next, in our lifetime that you'll try, or would you like to try from only regions that are probably innovating the most out of everyone? So would you dismiss innovation or stick with tradition?
Yeah, which I guess is sort of summed up in this a little bit, and we can probably answer both of those questions. I think this is the biggest moral dilemma for me, but I would have to probably go with Scotch Like, I don't think I can give up Glengyle and Linkwood. I just don't think I can do it.
That's another vote for Scotch from me. It's a vote for Scotch from me, and that's not to say I don't love my American whiskies, Japanese whiskies, everything.
So this just in: Matt Bailey and the Scotch Malt Whisky Society hates Australian whisky. Just coming up.
I did not say that. I did not say it. No, I did not say it. And I think there's some tremendously good Australian whiskey being made. I even referenced that with my Mount Wellington story. Anyway, shut up. I'm saying that I would go with Scotch. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I am going with all others. Like Dan Woolley says, Japanese Scotch, American Scotch. I'm going to go with Scandinavian Scotch. Totally joking, everyone. I'm very knowledgeable of that. So yeah, I'm going with everything else.
Jameson's my favourite Scotch.
Yeah, right.
I forgot about Jameson.
There it is.
I'm taking Jameson and everything else. I'm sorry, Linkwood.
Oh, you can't change your answer.
No, I just did.
No.
Yeah.
But what if you get someone in Scotland to bottle it at 42%?
No more Jameson anymore.
Why is Jameson, the bringer of so much joy to my life, been the downfall in the last two round tables?
You screwed up on 2 round tables now on that one.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
Milne, did you answer there?
Scotch.
You went Scotch. Okay.
Well,
am I the only one that... Oh, you'd give up Scotch, Milne?
no, I only drink Scotch.
Oh, so I'm the only one.
It's
Okay.
Let me change my answer.
No, you can't. You're not allowed to.
Hold on. Are you changing back to your first answer now?
No. I want to go. I want to go. Rest of the world. Scotch is dead. Everyone knows that. It's all over. They've made anything good there in years.
I'm drinking my American Scotch now.
Yeah.
This just in: Scotty hates Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
Speaking of your American Scotch, there, Alex. Watch this space for Pinot Noir cask, Westwood.
Oh, I have a bottle up the top there.
Not the one that came through the Whiskey Club, but the limited release from that's released as part of the Distillery Club or the Whiskey Club from Oregon. So,
cool. Have you guys had? Oh no, I have a bottle of the rum cask here, and I have a bottle of the cask strength, and
okay.
I have.
Where's that mute button?
I think I've got the biggest collection of Westwood in Australia. So including Pinot Noir cask straight out of my favourite barrel from when I was at the distillery. It was sent over for me, a little hip flask of it that I haven't opened yet. And my own blend that I made while I was there.
No one sends me that.
That's all right. I'm only drinking Scotch forever anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. So you can just flick all that Pinot Noir cask to me. Scotty, you don't need it.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, it didn't work. So I'm going to pick Milne, that we sort of did one of yours. So I'm going to go back to one of Alex's again. And Matt, you haven't submitted it yet, so have put your thought on. Would you rather, we've sort of touched on this a little bit in past episodes. Would you rather be a distiller or an ambassador for a distillery? And hello to Nancy from the Whiskey Thief.
Oh, fuck off.
Hi,
Grandma.
The entire Dahlenburg family. They're all here.
I appreciate it as well because I actually get mum and dad to watch this in different rooms so they count as 2 views rather than only one.
I'm pretty sure it's up on like Apple TV and they're all sitting around watching it on one screen. I'll have to tell them to split rooms so we get 3 more views. Is that what I'm going to do?
Oh, we got to play the game, Alex. This is how it works. Distiller or brand ambassador, I think I've made my thoughts on this pretty clear in previous episodes. Ambassador, because I think, not that I think I'd be a particularly good brand ambassador, but I would be a far worse distiller. Be a very average brand ambassador, but an absolutely catastrophically bad distiller.
Yeah, I've made mine clear on this before. I love talking about it. I love the stories and the people. I'm not really, but I'm not technically or chemistry minded, so I don't really care to make it myself either. So.
I failed very badly at science, so I think in the interest of the safety of anyone that consumes whatever I made, it's best that I definitely do not distill and just stick to ambassadorship.
Yeah.
You know where I stand. I'm going distilling.
No, farmer wasn't an option.
What?
Farmer wasn't an option. That's where you're going.
SWI researcher, says Rob. You know what? And Vicky says they're all on their iPads. So everyone.
All right, Mum.
When are we getting the iPads have cameras, don't they? When are we getting them on?
Can we not? Like, we don't need this to be the Dahlenburg show. Like, however, I'd love to get my father on here one day so he can talk barley to all of us and give us a giant story on the history of barley in Australia. That'd be cool.
We've spoken about that. That would be very, very good. We even spoke about maybe double turning that with a Peter Bignell. But I'm not sure my internet would last long enough for that conversation to reach its conclusion.
That's what I'm worried about. I'd have to be there and somehow be like, okay, tap out now, go. No, stop now. Yeah. No, Dad, look at the camera. Don't look over there.
Quality content, I think. Let's make it happen. Bailey, would you rather? It's your turn. What is your question?
Oh, I had a few lined up, but Desana wants to go before me because I'm still working that out. I like the OBIB one, but
okay, well, let's do that then.
Okay, so Matt Bailey didn't do his homework.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Definitely detention for Bailey.
Okay,
so another one from Alexandra. Would you rather only drink OB or IB for the rest of your life? Now, there was a question that came in on our very first topic here from Martin at Time for Whisky about does spirit in fortified sort of count? I'm going to ask a question before I answer this one. Does the Cat and Head Shop Cage independent bottlings of Glengyle count as an independent bottling?
No.
Yes. Yes, it does.
This is going to be a very, very big factor on my decision.
Cage bottlings are more a hype. You know that, right? Stop. Just stop.
No. But I'm going to lean towards independent bottlings, but Springbank and Glengyle very, very hard to come by in IBs. If the cage bottlings count as IBs, then I can scratch that itch.
Okay, but you obviously can't have any more Jameson again.
I believe in... Does Method and Madness count as an IB?
No.
Sorry, again, you've just shunned yourself out of Jameson.
For anyone watching who doesn't know what this means, sorry, OB is original bottler and IB is independent bottler. I don't want to just talk in jargon all the time. So if it's...
So, for example, Glenfiddich 12, distilled at Glenfiddich, it's a single malt, it's bottled by the Glenfiddich company. That's an official bottling. If the Scotch Malt Whisky Society get their hands on a Glenfiddich cask and bottle it on the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, they can do whatever they want to it and throw it in weird casks, release it at whatever ABV, whatever age. That would be an independent bottling.
I'm OBs.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, because OBs can do special releases, and I'm again gunning for the bigger variety, so I get to have all my favourites plus special releases still. Sorry.
It is true. They are remarkably good at removing age statements, keeping the 40% and putting them in a special box. I also love special releases. But, variety of flavour and IBs, for me, I'd have to go with IBs.
So salty on the boxes. Just
so
because
salty, so salty.
If price wasn't an option, if price wasn't a factor, then I would definitely be IBs. But I think...
But in this world, we would then start campaigning and get an independent bottler to release a very young, cheap single grain whiskey to fill all of your desires.
Where do blends sit in this factor? Are they...
It's like,
independent blends versus OB blends. They're still there.
North Star Vega, Cat and Head Creation series.
SMWS heresy line. Yeah.
Blue Hangout from Berry Brothers. That's a blended malt.
But Monkey Shoulder isn't OB technically, because it's not.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
it totally is.
All right, Monkey Shot is a really bad example, but Bells, Hanky Bannister,
This is just wonderful because all I have done to you guys is just thrown a line, reeled you in, and you're all carrying on. This is amazing. I love this question.
Yeah, it's like I was very happy with my life up until about 40 minutes ago, and now I'm questioning every decision. When I go to Wild River after this, I'm going to be like, what am I going to order? What does it mean? What does it all mean now?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we had to live with these decisions as of the end of this life?
I don't think Scotty would be allowed in the Wild Rover if he just walked in and said, "No more Jameson for me." They're like, but we've got these cases. What do we do with them?
He can't have any more Janets.
That question did come up before. There was a comment there. We did with again at Archie Rose with DHR. We did the Bridget last week, which the Bridget is Fernet and Cameron Brig, which is Cameron Bridge grain whiskey. So changing around a little bit. So ignore the Cameron, take the Bridget.
Yep.
Very good. Very pleasing. A very pretty drink.
Okay, so
Bailey, you got one?
I've got a question. Would you rather only ever drink mixed drinks or straight spirits for the rest of your life?
Oh, fuck. I can't. Bye.
Yes.
How the tables done turn.
Yes. How the tables have done turned. I've spun the
Y'all can't
lazy
do this
Susan.
to me. Don't make me give Jack and Coke up.
Sorry. So you either can drink spirits, neat, or on ice if you'd prefer. I guess we'll allow that. But no mixers. Or you can only drink mixed drinks, cocktails.
Can you chase it? So, like tequila and Vedita?
You know what? Screw your loopholes. So no. I go no on that one.
I'm going neat then. I have to.
Yeah. It has to be neat.
Yeah.
I'm on your side. I can't. I mean, considering that my favourite cocktails and mixed drinks are very spirit heavy, so my daiquiri uses Diplomatico 47% rum. My martini is a jar of olives filled with gin. I would go straight spirits, I think.
So no Jack and Coke for you, Alex, ever again.
It's a sad, sad day.
But if you just freeze dry it, then you can eat it whilst drinking.
No.
I think I actually have some frozen Coke in my fridge from where a can of Diet Coke exploded the other night and woke me up and scared the shit out of me. But yeah, so that's kind of freeze dried, right?
You exploded a can of Coke?
Yeah, woke me up in the middle of the night, scared the hell out of me.
Cool.
And I'm like, what the hell? And then opened my freezer the next day and I had a can of exploded Coke.
I think this, on a completely unrelated note, this is a good time to point out that the Janet, which is obviously 50% Fernet Branca and 50% Jameson, is a health tonic. It is not a
It is the
drink.
worst drink on this earth, Scotty.
Alex is right. It is the worst drink on earth.
No.
That's not nice. Jane Overeem has just come in watching with us, and I was just saying how much I love Overeem whiskey, and you come up and say that, baby. That's just not a nice thing to say.
What?
G'day to Jane in there, and Victoria watching with us. We are playing Would You Rather, and so far Matt Bailey is losing.
So Matt, surely you've tried Muay.
Yes, I have tried Muay.
I would like to say a big shout out to Benjamin Jackson, the electric postman. Hello, thanks for watching tonight. He cut in just as I was saying, nah, Jack and let's get lit. So that was a good impression for me there. So hello, Benjamin.
I love, Alex, that you're trying to pass that off as something that you only say like once every stream, but like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, says me sitting here slugging out of a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
No, hold on. I want to get this. What about bottled cocktails from Iacas?
That's a mixed drink.
It's a mixed drink.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a mixed drink. Yep.
Yeah. So again, you're wrong.
Negroni, though. all spirit, all neat spirit.
No, mixed.
No, that's a mixed drink.
Okay, all right.
I'd miss it as well, mind you. I'm not just like neat only. I would miss it. I love my Negronis.
So any mix. Oh yeah, it's any mix, isn't it? Yeah.
Mix anything mixed.
I mean, add in 3 drops of bitters into a whiskey.
Mix.
It's a mixed drink.
That's right.
So hang on. What about neat spirits adding water? Is that mixed?
He said water's fine.
Water's fine.
So,
Did he? Okay.
So just add in 1 dash of grapefruit bitters, and then you've got a mixed drink.
That's right.
That's the way around it.
1 dash of umami bitters, and you're out.
They're damn tasty.
Yeah, they are very tasty.
Jane, you are putting us all to shame right now. Actually, no, you're just putting me to shame right now.
If anyone thinks I've ever stepped foot in a gym, they had me all wrong.
Matt called me from the gym this week. I was quite impressed.
Sorry, phone call time with you.
Sorry, no. Okay, this is. I know what we're talking about in the after party. This is news I didn't know about before.
There you go.
It's getting them gains,
Gains.
Broken up for summer.
Summer body. That's it.
That's it.
Shredding for stereo, apparently.
Yeah. Is stereo even going ahead?
No.
No.
I think that festival's over.
I've got Ziz tattooed across my chest.
I did 3 Stereosonics. Don't know if anyone can beat that record.
You've been to 3 Stereosonics?
Yep.
Oh, Scotty, really?
What's wrong with you?
I've not been in this country long enough to understand anything you're saying.
I went to 1 and I met Tiesto in the lift going up to the DJ hangout room, which was pretty cool. Again, not my scene though.
That's a pretty humble brag you've just dropped in there.
Yeah. This is more after party fodder.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, my brother still tells this story every day. Like every time we meet new people, he's like, "So she met Tiesto. She had no idea who he was. Turned around and looked at him and was like, 'Nice kicks, mate.' And he's like, 'Oh yeah, thank you.' Gets out of the lift, and everyone else is like, 'Do you know who that was?' And I was like, 'No, but he had nice shoes.' Like,
you'd hope you'd have nice shoes.
I mean, if it was like Luke Combs or like Luke Bryan or any of those guys, Chris Stapleton, I would have been like, holy shit, but I had no idea who he was.
I don't know who any of those people are, so there you go.
Hey, mate.
Get some education.
I'm going to start sending, in our chat, I'm going to start sending you guys some country music.
Yeah, I'm busy that day, actually, but I appreciate it.
I'm all in.
It's really nice, yeah.
Disgrace.
All right, I'm going to, like a bad host, I'm going to drag this back on topic to one of the first ones that we get around in terms of travel. And so this is not an exclusive thing, but so like first thing, next year we can travel again. We've been pent up. We want to go do things that we were planning to do this year. Would you rather do Scotland and Ireland or travel all over the States?
Oh, I know Alex's answer to this, but...
I know mine, but I think mine's actually... It's tougher than what I...
Do you?
Yeah, I think I do.
This is the one where I hope my parents don't watch this stream. Growing up in the UK, I was lucky to travel lots of Scotland and Ireland for distillery visits and various travel. So it's a home to me, and it's a place that I love. But the States is very much the path untrodden. And so I'm effectively going, do you want to go and experience something new, or do you want to go and see your family? Which...
Yeah, well, let's hope they're not watching. Yeah, exactly.
So, that said, I would still pick, if it's not just whiskey related, I would pick Scotland, because I would see my family, go hiking, get out into the mountains for a few days, and then go and see some distilleries. And I'd much rather do that in Scotland and relax, rather than go into a hotel that has a sign saying no handguns beyond this point.
I'm going to go to Scotland as well. I mean, I've been to Scotland a number of times. I love it. And there's still so many distilleries I want to visit, and so many people I still want to see. But I'd love to do the Bourbon Trail and all that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I just... to answer that question specifically, Yeah, I think it's going to be Scotland and Ireland, especially if you're including Ireland, because there's a lot happening over there at the moment. There's a lot of development happening in Irish whiskey at the moment, which I find very exciting. And I think a lot of it, I'm not going to name any names, but I think a lot of it is a lot of faff and there's a lot of clever marketing. But at the same time, I think there's some really interesting development happening in spirit and in scale, especially in scale. So that's exciting. That's why I want to get over there.
I think it's a very good point. The addition of Ireland tips me over. I've never been to America, and it's on my big bucket list to do. And I was meant to do it in the music years and do South by, and I really regret not doing that at the time. And so there's I want to go and do like a good 2 or 3 months in America and hit everything that I want to hit. Obviously, starting with the Daytona 24-hour race in January, and just going on from there. But I think if I was meant to be there in Scotland around about, it was either going to be in sort of like April-ish or it was going to be now-ish outside of Whiskey Fair this year. So I think there's that pent-up element in me that in next year or the year after I'll do Scotland and Ireland via Le Mans 24-hour, and then I can do America afterwards.
So, Matt, what do you think I'm going to choose?
No. You say it. It's okay.
No. Please tell me. Tell me how well you know me.
No, I reckon I just had a feeling you'd say the States.
Okay, so I've done both.
Yeah.
Already. I'm going back to Scotland.
Okay. I'm wrong.
Because of Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's tipped me over in that
if
question.
any of you talk trash about my American whiskey and America, I'll we're going to have problems.
I never have.
I believe. Oh, Robert, we've got problems. America is a dumpster fire at the moment. Did you see that?
Well,
sections of. Yeah.
Not touching that one.
Yeah. A couple of comments here. Really missing Scotland at the moment. Months of work on lockdown body. Bailey, I'll let you pronounce that name. It's a variation of Stuart, isn't it?
Yeah, Stuart. That's Stuart.
Yeah,
hey, mate.
Stuart,
how you going?
Passion.
Good to see you, mate.
Sorry, I wasn't going to take a stab at that without clarifying that was an old Gaelic spelling of Stuart. Peter Bignell, friend of the stream, definitely visiting Scotland again, especially Islay. And that is a special place, Islay.
Islay's amazing. I would also go back to Orkney in a heartbeat because of the people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I've met the people, but I've not been there.
Definitely not the whiskey, just the people. Is that what you're saying, Alex?
Sorry?
You're saying definitely not the whiskey, just the people on Orkney?
Oh, the whiskey. Are you kidding me? Highland Park? I'd go crazy in that warehouse again.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you go there is for the best distillery in Orkney is Scarpa. I mean,
Scarpa's amazing too. Like, I saw two Le Mans.
Why is this getting so salty tonight? Why am I encouraging you? I don't know how it's done.
Yeah, and I'm not fighting, gentlemen. I'm not going down there.
When did Scarpa get an R in it as well?
Scarpa.
Oh, you know what? Mute him. That's it.
He gets a timeout every single episode we do.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm just here to educate and inform. You know?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful to see the Le Mans still while I was there at Scarpa.
Lemons, not Le Mans.
I'm not sure I'm taking that bite. I can see the worm there, but I'm just not. I had lunch yesterday, so I'm not
saying
hungry.
anything. No.
All righty. Bailey, do you have another Would You Rather? You've only put one in tonight. I've probably only put one in tonight as well.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. Andy had some good ones here. I don't think we've touched on yet.
Yeah, well, there's this one as well. We sort of did it with the Scotland versus the rest of the world one, and this one is an interesting one from Milne when it pops up. Would you rather only have cask-strength sherry cask whiskey or reduced-strength bourbon casks? Very simple answer for me, because obviously bourbon casks.
I'm with you right there, Scotty.
In the iteration of the way that question has been written, I will agree with you. It has to be reduced strength bourbon casks. But if it was,
I thought that we'd all pick bourbon if I just said sherry or bourbon. So I was like, throw the cask strength in there as a bit of like, oh.
Nah.
Actually, that's what I like about my bourbon casks. That sort of,
Yeah.
45 to 49% really cracking whiskies. I mean, if you went maybe 40% bourbon casks only, that would be a little bit tougher to make a call on, I think. But thankfully you didn't, so I don't have to answer that question.
Yeah.
I did also then make that even harder. I think I said old sherry or young bourbon. So you couldn't, if it was bourbon, it couldn't be anything less than.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking you were going with, that old sherry versus young bourbon. That's tricky. That's tricky.
So,
That changes the paradigm, and I'm going to change my answer then to old sherry.
Yep, I again will answer this correctly, as I've been answering all the questions correctly tonight, and say young bourbon.
Young bourbon.
I'm still bourbon. Actually, sorry, that's changed.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. If it's old sherried whiskey or young bourbon whiskey,
Young is in bourbon cask, yeah? Still in cask.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a whole big difference.
That's a different question entirely. Yeah, I'm gonna go with old sherry then.
Oh.
And I mean,
can I take a pass?
No.
Okay, define old sherry with a brand for me.
What, were we saying like older than 15 years? Or are we talking
12.
Older than 12, okay.
So 12 or younger bourbon.
What are we defining? So young is under 12?
Yes, 12 and under.
Oh, I'm still going young bourbon.
So sherry is 13 and older.
I'm drinking an 18-year-old sherry whiskey right now, and I'm really enjoying it. So that might be influencing my decision. But I'm going to go with old sherry.
Yeah, I'm going young bourbon. Sorry.
I'm drinking a young bourbon cask at the moment, Bakery or Sovereign Smoke. So I'm sticking with young bourbon, which is, in terms of, I was just about to say, in Australia and other more continental climates, a 10-year-old bourbon cask, an 11-year-old Sullivan's Cove bourbon cask. Answer that one wrong, didn't you, Bailey?
You know what? Yeah, I probably did. Yeah, that's okay. I'll live with that.
But expand on that then, and this probably is referring just to cool climate countries, so Scotland and Ireland predominantly, and if not, reciprocal flavours. But 12 years and younger, so only 12 years and younger whiskey, or only 20-year and older whiskey, 30-year and older whiskey. So 12 or below, 30 or plus.
A big shout out to Stuart, who has renewed his SMWS membership, it looks like, which means he's in the running to win a cask of whiskey.
Yeah, that's very cool. I was actually thinking, we're
Or a
giving away
new T-shirt.
We're giving away what?
Nothing.
What's wrong with my T-shirt? Is there stains on it?
I am typing up this Would You Rather at the moment, but maybe while I do that, Bailey, you can talk about
No, I was just going to mention the cask.
thing from the society.
No, I was like, I think we're giving away a whole cask of whiskey, 230-litre hoggy. It's all you have to do is be a member, but it's just. I was trying to think actually earlier today if there's ever been if anyone's ever given away a whole cask of whiskey in Australia before. And I know, like certain distilleries have done 20-litre and even a 50-litre cask giveaway before, but I mean a proper cask. I mean like a hoggy or a barrel ever given away before, and I don't know if any of you guys know of anything like this ever happening. So,
No.
yeah,
No,
okay.
definitely new.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very
For
cool.
businesses, yes, but not for personal.
Yeah, it's personal.
Not
yeah,
for
yeah.
personal gains.
Right.
However, please give them my mobile number to whoever wins. I'll be your best friend.
You got 12 years to build that friendship. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you can't work it out by then,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no chance.
It's not meant to be. Okay. The development. Would you rather drink only whiskey under the age of 12 years or only whiskey over the age of 30 years? That was the question, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to lead this one off. And again, another glorious cover drive, straight to the boundary, answering the question correctly, under 12-year-old.
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt here. Mum's just texted me going, "What is Matt's site? I will join and try and win the cask."
You know where to send it. It's smws.com.au.
If Vicky Dahlenburg wins the cask, are you all going to share in it?
Vicky, because you were a point scorer last week, if we could all have a bottle each, that'd be great.
Yeah.
She doesn't even drink.
Even better.
She had a margarita the other night and she's like, "Oh, I've got vertigo." And we're like, "No, that's alcohol, Mum."
That's actually an interesting concept, the Whiskey Roundtable bottling.
Oh.
I feel like it would be like a bastard, compass box, whiskey to table type creation. That's like Scott's.
That was a genius whiskey.
Oh, so good.
That was a genius whiskey.
Scott's plan clashes with Alex's plan, clashes with Milne, clashes with Bailey to this little monster of a whiskey.
I feel like swords would be drawn over trying to decide where to do it from.
Well, we've obviously got the label then.
What? Swords drawn?
Swords drawn.
No, I've already got that hashtag, swords and shit.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I apologise. I take it back. But under...
Actually, I want the logo to be... I'd like the logo to be Milne's face, but with a mute button on it.
Oh, Matt, you're so fucking terrible.
Hold on, so I can take it all night, but I can't dish it out. There you go. Come on.
Yes,
you're fine, mate. You're fine.
How it works.
There you go.
As long as Scotty and I can have a cricket bat as our sword, then I'm fine with that.
Yes, true.
I'm under 12 years for this one.
Yeah. I think there's too much under 12, and like even in Scotland, I reckon there's too much variety under 12 as opposed to over 30-year-old variety. And then as soon as you get out of that, when you look at America, look at Australia, you look at Taiwan and India, and virtually then every other whiskey producing country in the world, at Denmark, at Germany, at South Africa, all these places, there's too much under 12 to give away.
Also, I think we're going to see less over 30.
Oh, we already are.
Moving forward.
Oh, we already are, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, whiskies that are over 30 are even now, I mean, and moving forward, are extremely scarce. They really are. I mean, and most of them don't go the distance. So if we're really talking, and also obviously demand is far outstripping supply still, but if we're really talking sort of based on availability, if we're based on what's in market, then I'd have to choose the under 12 as well. As much as I love old whiskey, and especially old whiskey that's really well integrated old whiskey, and I don't mean Glen Sporran bag from Aldi or whatever it is. I mean actual nice 30-year-old whiskeys. You get these amazing flavors in old whiskey, and that you can't replicate in young whiskey, and you can't cheat age in whiskey, no matter who tries.
What's the Aldi whiskey again? What's it called?
Glenmorangie, Glen Bagpipe, I don't know, something like that.
Glen Marriott or something, was that?
It was a Monarch.
There was a Monarch at one point.
Monarch, yeah, that's right.
Glen Dalmore, I think, technically.
Yeah, Glen Dalmore, yeah.
I can't remember why. I had a status that was like, when looking at apartments in Sydney, I have a Macallan 30-year-old taste on a Glen Berkey or whatever. No, it was Glen something Aldi whiskey taste. Right. Or budget, sorry.
Right, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
I have Macallan Expectations and Glen Sporran budget. It was like, yeah, okay. Look, and there is a lot of age. As I wrote about for our Unfiltered feature, it says age is not the determiner of quality. But I'll definitely go for under 12, but only because of the sheer value and volume of what you can get in that category.
Highland Earl.
I did. The blend.
That was the one from Aldi, and I don't say this very often about any whiskies, but that was shit.
Yeah.
There goes your Audi sponsorship right there.
I'm sorry, and I'm all for no, you can do better. No, you can fucking do better. It was shit. Sorry. Next question.
Segue. Okay. Going to segue that. I'm going to pose one now. Would you rather only drink bottles you've tried before or never try the same thing twice? Now, the tempt is to go because I love trying new things all the time. But put this in context when you're at home, it's a Sunday arvo or something, and you just want something that you know and just something that you love, but you never know, and you might get a shit one. You might get Glen Bagpipes from Aldi, or you might get a really good one, and it might ruin that situation. You have to trade that off. Having that Jameson on the hand that you know and love is going to be awesome, or taking a gamble. Would you rather drink only stuff you've had before? I know we're lucky enough, we've all tried a fair bit, so there's a big pool to try. Even if it's just a sample that you had at a fair, you can try that again, or never the same thing twice. And even to the extent where, oh man, the thing you discover tomorrow is awesome and you can never have it again.
I'm going to throw out and say I'm going to go with the never try the same thing twice. I am in a very privileged position where I get to try, as you know,
Isn't that IBs just through and through?
No, not necessarily. No, but
because there's no consistency.
No, there's consistency and quality.
It's one and done.
No, look. But it'd be something that I never get to try the same thing twice. Only because, as you know, I'm very like you guys. I'm very privileged position. I get to taste 250 different single casks a year, and it's in the journey. It's always in the journey, and it's not about sort of. There's no destination for it. There's no sort of like. The fun is in the journey of tasting these things and exploring these flavors rather than always landing on something that is the old reliable. And I know as Scott's example is going there, and it's fantastic. It's like, if you've got that, there's some bottles I still enjoy, which are, core range things that I know I can always rely on, but they're always, it's the journey. So I'm going to go with the latter.
Milne?
Yeah. Your point of the old reliable, I mean, logistically, it's a nightmare because then if you want to have a few drinks on a weekend, then you have to have, you can never buy a bottle of whiskey again, or can you buy a bottle and then once that's done, you replace it?
It's a 3 hour window.
Trust you to think economically over this and how much it's going to cost you to drink. Never try the same thing twice.
Well, if I can only drink every bottle that you buy, you can only try it once and then you throw it away. That's quite a
holy hell.
I'm talking from a philosophical element. So take the money out of this. Say you get to just pick and choose what you want. And it doesn't cost you anything. But yes, you can only have 1 dram out of it. So instead of you walk into a bottle store and you say, okay, I feel like a couple of drams tonight, I'm going to take that. I'm going to enjoy that. You have to pick 5 different things instead, 1 dram out of each.
This is hard. I don't like this one.
I like this one.
Don't overthink it.
I would probably stay with what I've had before because there's been so much good liquid in there. And there's quite a lot that I'd love to try again and drink again.
That vice versa, that single cask sample of Port Ellen that someone drew for you that was 5 mils, you get to now drink that in 700 ml bottles for free forever. That's the rules of this one.
Oh,
sweet. So, Rosebank blended for me for the rest of my life. Done.
Alex?
Send me that white label.
Okay, I'm taking this on the summary that if I died tomorrow, my whiskey journey has been fucking amazing. And I've had a lot of whiskeys that I actually will never get to try again already. So I'm going to drink what I had before. Because I've drank a lot and I can just start exploring them again. And then I don't have to give up Jack like you've given up Janet and your Jameson over and over again in the last 2 streams.
Yeah, I do agree. There's that element of, I had this thing at this point in time and it was amazing, or it was okay and it was prudent, and actually going back and rediscovering things. For me, that's still an element of discovery in going back and having things in different situations and that.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think there will be a time, and it's probably not that far away. I'm very, very old, and I'm looking forward to retirement in the next 3 weeks.
Okay, y'all can sit
for those
down.
watching at home, he is the youngest of
I'm
four
the
people.
oldest.
But
Yeah.
I need to go. I think
Sure.
the itch would become too great not to try something new. And I think like the want of discovery, having, even trying, you stumble across something that just blows your mind and you can only have like one drink of it and you have to move on. The fascination of trying to chase that butterfly to try and, find that flavor again, that for me would be too hard of a pull than going back and rediscovering.
That's a horrible question.
That is
Either
so many
answer,
horrible questions tonight.
either answer, I hate myself for it on that one.
We all started, as happy people earlier tonight, and now we're just, all our lives don't mean anything anymore.
Do you know what's really scary is because 10 years ago, if you'd said we're all going to be locked down because of one little, a virus that goes round and, we're going to have to wear masks and socially distance, we all would have told you, bullshit. Can you imagine if these questions actually become realities? Anyone with me on that?
No, I don't want to think about that.
It's scary as hell.
Yeah. It just goes to show the diversity of enjoyment is so key, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. That's a really good point, Bailey. And we all love whiskey. We all manage to forge careers out of it. Certainly in my case, no one knows quite how it happened or why it happened, but somehow it's happened that we've managed to do that. And it comes from a love and enjoyment, and there's so many different ways you can enjoy it. Sitting at home and just having that dram, or having a really cheapy whiskey with really good mates. I enjoy, as I know that all of you guys do as well, is I enjoy that period of getting in front of people. Alex loves it through a straw, so I just
straight from the bottle, man. Not a straw.
But there's
straws kill the turtles.
They do.
I'm
but
kidding.
That's all right. But I think that's a really interesting point, and we've challenged ourselves to answer questions that no human should ever be asked to answer tonight. It's unfair. It's inhumane. I mean, if I end up in Guantanamo, that's the sort of thing I think they'll be asking me questions is pure torture, as these sorts of questions. But it sort of highlights the way that there are so many levels of enjoyment in whiskey, and it's not just drinking it. There's elements of, I love looking at good bottles on the shelf. I'm not a collector by any stretch, but I do still like seeing the work of art and, that sort of thing. Alex, what you were saying before about looking up and seeing that collection of Westwood, and each one of them tells a little bit of a story. And, when you drink them, you'll have that memory come flashing back. So I think it highlights, I'll say again, the different angles, the different, aspects of enjoying whiskey is far more than just having spirit in a glass.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag whiskey took me here.
Well, we can't do that because that's another one you've trademarked, and we have to pay you 10 cents every time we use it.
We always go over time. Is it just and we'll probably go for another 2 hours after this as well.
Yeah. To Darren as well, we love consistency and brands and diversity and IBs, and obviously we were talking about some very silly questions, but again, it highlights the beauty of both, and we both have their place, and it both have their their enjoyment factors, and it's just such a beautiful thing to be part of.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Would you
grand finale? This one is this
grand finale.
Is going to be the one.
I don't think this isn't I don't think it's a grand finale one, but talk about the past and the future stuff. Would you rather go back to drinking coal-fired, wood-fired distilleries, old traditional style, where it's wood-burning coal fires, long ferments and weekend ferments and all this sort of stuff, and only drink that, where you've got a bit hit and miss, but some really cool, interesting flavors as a result, or only steam, oil, modern distilled?
I think we've got a question lined up with that. Scotty, the 100 years one? Which is very similar to that, Milne.
Yeah. So because I was actually paraphrasing what I was typing there, and like
I thought I thought about this earlier, and I was just like, why did I think about this?
This is actually probably a good grand finale for Would You Rather nights.
I'm going to go with future. I'm going to go with what's coming up now. So would you rather taste all whiskeys back 100 years ago or 100 years into the future? I'm going to go with the future. I'm always interested in where we're heading and what's changing and where we're developing stuff and where we're improving on stuff, rather than an era that we look back on, I think, with way overly rose-tinted glasses and go, oh, it was back in the day, whiskey was better. And I think that's always just a bit of a cop-out, because sometimes it was, but most of the time it wasn't. And it was that we single out those examples of ones which were amazing. And if you mention those whiskies to people, they go, oh, whiskey was better in the day, and this Combalmore was better back then, and Port Ellen was better back then, and whatever. It's like, yeah, but you're citing specific examples of individual releases from distilleries that no longer exist. So it's a bit rose-tinted.
And the ones that lasted and actually made it through rather than the entire category.
That's right. And they're the ones, exactly, the ones that lasted through that category rather than all the ones that the hundreds of distilleries that have closed over the years. So you go, well, I'm always interested, and as you know, I mean, single malt as a category is what, 60 years of age in terms of being even marketed and talked about. So it's, we're still learning how to do this.
I was talking about 38 Macallan.
Oh, sure.
With a friend this week.
Yeah.
So they didn't make, it was bottled in the...
that case in the garage, did you?
Yeah, it's true. Not to bottle down, but it's all right. There's 4 left. No, it's the 33-year-old. So that would have been bottled 68, 70.
Well, that's what I mean. 1963-ish Glenfiddich released a single, from there onwards. There were a couple doing it before them, but not really properly marketed as such. They were just called malt whiskey or something on the bottle.
Yeah.
But this is relatively recent in the grand scheme of things of whiskey history. Single malt whiskey is relatively recent, and so I'm interested in where it's going next. So what does the next 100 years look like for that category? Not just single malt, but for whiskey as a category. So I love old malt, but if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to go with the future.
I'm a romantic. I'm going back
to steam powered, to coal powered stills and funky old juice and inconsistency.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's just like IBs. Some
rely on consistency of quality, Alex, not just about.
Love it.
Anyway,
I'm joking, Matt. I do not hate IBs. It's just because it winds Matt up.
I know.
Yeah.
She just hates you, Matt.
I know. I get it.
Far from. I'll defend him over you two any other day.
Oh, put that on the screen.
That's only because you two give him the most shit. It's the same thing like I defend Milne when you two gang up.
I'm with Matt.
All right.
You're in the future, 100? And you're future, are you?
Yeah, I think there's...
And Scotty? Go, Andy. Apologies.
You go, Andy.
Yeah, no, it's just that there's so much innovation to come and variety, and I think the way that even already we're seeing other countries change up, and we're using cider casks, and there's an opportunity that we'll start using mezcal casks and tequila casks, and what innovation is yet to come. We've scratched the surface of it now, so there's heaps more to come for sure.
I can't handle if they start mezcal casks and tequila casks. I can't handle that.
Oh,
I've done it in rum. So
rum's fine. I don't react to rum like I do with tequila. You can't put whiskey in that. Those two categories just do not mix.
We'll find out.
Wait for the Scandinavians to do it, and then we'll taste it.
Yeah.
Scotty, future or past?
I've got to look to the future. As much as I love things I've tried in the past, I think it's sort of similar to my last answer. I couldn't sit here and wonder, and if it was available, not be able to try them. That would drive me absolutely insane, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I would research. I would read other people's tasting notes. I would pretend like I had tasted old whiskies based off what other people had sort of, 10 people's tasting notes and distill them into one, average across the tasting notes. So I understood what it did taste like back then.
Yeah.
But I would have to look to the future, and it would eat me up inside, not knowing where we're going.
Just quickly, like in just numbers, what's the oldest whiskey you guys have had?
In terms of time in a cask, or in terms of when it was bottled, or anything like that?
The age statement on it.
Vintage.
Oh, the age statement. I was very graciously sent a sample of that G&M Mortlach a couple of years ago, the 70-year-old, which was they sent me literally like a 1 CL sample of it. It was just like a.
What was the set that they then did after that?
They did the Glenlivet.
They did Glenlivet.
Yeah, there was a Glenlivet 68 or 70-year-old as well, something like that.
I think it was a 68-year-old.
And there has since been a 75-year-old Mortlach, which I think is the oldest ever bottled single malt. But I've never tried the 75, but I was very lucky to taste a little bit of the 70.
I tried the Glenlivet and the other two younger ones. And I remember my boss was like, he just had some samples kicking on the desk. He's like, "Oh, do you want these?" I just sort of looked at him and went, "Are you kidding me?
Is this a game?"
this is just like, do you want to just try these?
Yeah.
So that was, I had the tiniest amount left in there, and I still managed to eke it out between three of us, I think. Because I couldn't, I can't do this on my own, because I had to share this.
I'm not sure the age on mine, and I just tried to Google it then, but I can't find a bottling date. But part of what I love about the whiskey community is the community aspect of it. And last year I couldn't get to Whiskey Fair in Limburg in Germany, so I had a customer who I've known for years, who's become a friend, smuggled me back a sample of the Linkwood 1939. So
bloody hell,
pre-war Linkwood, and it's I just had to Google then. It was a Gordon MacPhail bottling. It's on the Whiskey Exchange at the moment, and if I had the money, I'd buy one in a heartbeat. But I just can't find the bottling date on it. So I don't know. But for me, Linkwood and pre-war, pre-majority of the war. That was and I opened that. There was a little sample, and I held on for a little bit, and opened it with two very good mates on a bit of a milestone birthday last year. Similar sort of thing, Milne. We had about 10 mils or something, and it went three ways, and the hour I spent with it was not enough. So that would be, I reckon it was bottled in the 80s or 90s, that one. So probably around 50 or 60 years old, depending on exactly when it was. Alex, yours?
I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure it was a Balvenie or Glenfiddich up at the natural up at the natural spring where the water comes down. I'm just trying to look up for it, but definitely 51-year-old Craig Alecky.
Yep.
That was a pretty special dram. It was like 99% nose. It was like I find that with really, really old whiskey. Like it's all in the nose. It's all in the nose.
That's why this 3.33 mils of Linkwood 39 lasted me an hour.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to drink it. I took one sip about 15 minutes in, and then the next 45 I just spent nosing it again.
I tried that 51. Agree completely. It was all the nose. But I found that whiskey. It's a 1943 70-year-old Glenlivet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, awesome.
Bonkers.
All right.
I opened that last year, which was at our Vaults dinner night, which was it's a Thompson's Gold Cap blended Scotch whiskey, and it was bottled in 1954. So it was distilled it would be about probably 5 years old. So it would have been, most of the stocks would have been 5 or 6 years old. So it would have been 1948, 1949. But we opened that for our Vaults event last year. And the reason why is because it says blended and bottled by J.G. Thompson, the Vaults Leith. And I love finding old Leith blends like that. Like there's Anthony Bannister used to work out of Leith, and so did Glenmorangie, and so did Glenfarclas, a few others who had offices there, along with Dalmore and a few others. But yeah, very cool. I love little bits of history like that.
All right, we're going to wrap up there. We've gone about 24 minutes longer than we said we would.
That's all right.
Before we go, and I want one-word answers. This is the very last. It's not a would you rather. It's a bit of a question coming from the crowd.
Quick
Are
fire.
you ready, Milne?
Yeah.
One-word answer, and I'm going to kick it off. The question is, if you had the opportunity to only buy one cask in Scotland, where would you put your money? Bang, for me, Wolfburn.
Long
You have to
road.
answer, Alexa. Wolfburn, no, okay.
Wolfburn, Longrow.
No, one answer. Sorry, what was that?
So I said Wolfburn. Milne said Longrow.
Okay.
I can't.
No reasoning, just one word.
Brooke Laddie.
Oh, fuck off. I was going to say Optimal.
You can still say it.
Say?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And on that groundbreaking note, thank you everyone for joining us tonight to answer all the big questions and to put ourselves through all that torture that we just did. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to see you next Wednesday when we talk about something else equally as stupid but equally as important.
With words.
This way, thank you guys for joining everyone again and tuning in. And we will
Have a wonderful week, all you whiskey freaks.
Yeah, and Melbourne, not long to go. Not long to go.
Not long to go.
We can do it, Melbourne. Bye.